Join me. Together we can rule the galaxy far from sun.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
Hello there, Space Wizards, Plastic Spacemen, and Rebel Princesses. This is Todd Hoffman, and Trent Hoffman is not with me today, but it is Big T and Little T, a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to episode 43. Today, we're going to be talking about Mandalorian Season 2, Chapter 15, the 7th episode of Season 2, The Believer. Trent, like I said, is not here. Just busy weekend, and we couldn't get to it this week. But we had a great weekend, and we're looking very forward to Christmas and all that fun stuff. So hope everyone's is doing well and having a blessed time as we get closer to Christmas. But we got so much stuff to talk about today. We got a XSX, yes, an Xbox Series X, and so we've been playing the heck out of Valhalla Assassin's Creed, so that has been crazy fun. Little news dropped us also as well. If you're hiding on a rock, the stakeholder meeting was Thursday, and woo, they dropped some serious stuff on the 10th. It's kind of crazy. I honestly can't believe how many stuff is coming out. I have to talk through it with Trent next week because I don't think I even told him of all the crazy stuff that was happening. But it's pretty intense as far as what they announced, and so you're seeing definitely a shift in TV streaming, so that is pretty cool. And I honestly don't know if we're gonna get movie theaters when we come out of this pandemic, because it is not looking quite promising for that. But real quick, I'm just gonna run through the list of shows that they have announced. So we got Rangers of the New Republic, we got Ahsoka, Andor, The Bad Batch, which is that's an animated based off what we saw in Clone Wars Season 7. We got Visions, which is going to be an original series of animated short films celebrating the Star Wars galaxy from the world's best Japanese anime creators, coming in 2021. Lando Calrissian will be a brand new event series, The Acolytes. Now, the only thing we know about this is that it is taking viewers, it says, emerging from the dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. Interesting. A droid story, which is a combination of Lucas Visual Effects, industrialized magic to develop a special Star Wars adventure film. The epic journey will introduce us to a new hero guided by R2-D2 and C-3PO. Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. And we got the return of Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. What? And then two feature films that were mentioned were the Taiki Waititi, and it just says, get ready for unforgettable ride. And then we get this kind of cool intro from Patty Jenkins, and she is known for Wonder Woman and a couple other ones, but really kind of cool little intro. And she's going to be doing a movie called Rogue Squadron. So there you have it. Kind of crazy. Just a blitz of all kinds of new content, and then pretty much the same thing on the Marvel side. So heavy Disney Plus, and then we got the feature films coming. But again, no mention of that Rian Johnson trilogy, but we'll see. I don't know. I think it's dead. Maybe it's not. Okay. So that's kind of what happened last week. And then the other thing, we had a great guest spot. Trent and I, I don't know, I was going to say Ted. Trent and I had an opportunity to be on It's Canon podcast with Phil, Tyler, and Boris. Oh, man, we had a great time talking all things Mandalorian. And we got to talk about that great episode last week, Chapter 14. So if you haven't checked it out, please, The Tragedy, go check that out on It's Canon Podcast. We had a great time being our first guest spot on It's Canon, and we just want to thank those guys very, very much for having us on the show. It was an awesome, awesome time, and they got to listen to Trent's hot takes, which is always fun. Like I said, anytime we do this podcast, it's one cut, no edits. We just go with it, and I think that's what makes it fun, and just having a great time sitting down with Trent. And so Boris, Tyler, and Phil got to hear that. So once again, go check out It's Canon Podcast for our guest spot last week. So that's all kind of catching us up, and here we go with The Believer. Okay. So, I would say overall feelings for this episode, fantastic episode. This one's one of my favorites. The official description is: to move against the Empire, the Mandalorian needs the help of an old enemy. So this is a segue, obviously, from our last episode, where at the end, Mando goes back to Cara Dune and says, "Hey, I need you to look up an Imperial prisoner, and that Imperial prisoner is Migs Mayfield, designation inmate 34667. Star Wars, we love these numbers. This is definitely a trivia question in the future. 34667, and they are the Carthian Chopfields, I think. And we get this really cool shot. I love seeing all these walkers, and so now we get a walker that's basically a crane, and they're just kind of disassembling starships. So we get some TIE fighters, and we get to see a chicken walker, and so Mayfield is Bill Burr, and he is chopping down some stuff, and he seems confused, but we get this cool security droid that we've seen actually in the prison level, and we get a cool nerd shot out here. We get a nice little shot of Shis Tavanian. When you're like, what is that? That's the Wolfman, the Lupian. They are from the planet Uvian Prime. Yes. So in the cantina in A New Hope, we get a cool kind of Wolfman looking guy. That is a Shistafinian, and we get him again in this little shot. There's a couple people disassembling some TIE fighters, and we get a cool shot. So I thought that was pretty amazing. So just a nice little touch, again, them using new and old species. I just like them always introducing and kind of reintroducing us to species in the Star Wars universe. So Mayfield's like, okay, what's going on? You get this cool shot. We see the Boba Fett's Slave One in the background as they walk up. There's Cara Dune, and Boba Fett walks down with a new paint job. What? I was telling my friends, I call this the Home Depot special. It's kind of like he didn't like all the dinged up and went to Home Depot or the latest galactic hardware store and got him some flat paint and just painted over everything. I think it looks awesome. I love it. He's got the Boba Fett armor with the dad pants still and a cool kind of scarf thing going on. I just love the look. I think it looks awesome. I love it. So he's got this flat paint job. And so now, shoot, man, we got like 3 new different versions out of Boba Fett already. We got the Cobb Vanth Boba Fett. We got the new Boba Fett with his kind of like Tusken Raider kind of pants. And then this week we got the flat paint job. And, oh, man, I just think it looks awesome. I don't know. I just dig it. So anyways, here's the deal. We knew the deal last week is that Din is looking for the coordinates of Moff Gideon's starship. And so we need to find it. And the only way to find it is through an Imperial terminal. And so that is the plan. That is the plot. We have to get Mayfield. And so Mayfield knows how to do that and crack the thing. And so finds out the little green guy is kidnapped. And so he's like, okay, I know of a planet called Morak. And it's an Imperial mining hub that is a little off the grid. And so they go to Morak. Really cool shot of the Slave One coming into this kind of forest planet. And it's a refining facility, and they're refining rhydinium, which is basically kind of like coaxium, which is highly volatile and explosive. So it go boom. So we get the kind of gist of it, and we get these kind of cool, like, it's almost like the episode 3 Juggernauts and what we see these in Rogue One, which are refurbished. But this is just a little bit different. It's a Juggernaut kind of tank-looking thing. There were turbo tanks in episode 3 and Rogue One, but they're called little Juggernauts, and it's like a truck, and we get tank troopers. Shout out to Rogue One, and now we got a cool little new paint job for these tank troopers. Oh, I don't know, man. I might need to be a tank trooper. It looks cool. Looks awesome. Love the helmet and design. And they got a different look. And so here's the plan. They are going to hijack a Juggernaut, but they need to scan faces once they get to the terminal. And kind of fun joke here. Basically, Fennec is wanted. Kara is known. Boba Fett's like, I think they might know my face, which is a nice kind of shout out to, they might recognize my face. So this is a shout out because he's a clone. And so then it's decided that Din and Mayfield will do the hijacking and get the Juggernaut to the facility and do that. So get the plan, scope it out. Kara, Din, and Mayfield hijack the thing, and then we do a little switcheroo. Love the shot. If you're into cosplaying, Mayfield's like, oh, this dude's so sweaty and his gloves are wet. If you've ever been cosplaying for a while, been in that armor, dude, you're just a sweat for Star Wars. So I love that little shout out. The hijack it, everything's going great. They get through this tunnel. Phase 1's complete. We get that from Fennec, and now Juggernaut 3 is on their way. They get this kind of cool shot through, again, just a little town looking thing, and we get the locals not liking the Empire, and Mayfield makes a really kind of cool comment. It doesn't matter who it is. New Republic, Empire, the locals just want to be left alone, which I really like. I think that's kind of cool. And then we also get this dialogue about, how's it feel? Like Mayfield's kind of poking at him like, hey, how's it feel now that you have this other helmet on? And Mayfield is kind of asking and questioning, like, can you not take off your helmet, or is it just people can't see your face? What is it? He's kind of poking at the creed and trying to understand, what is it? What is it behind a Mandalorian? And it's a really good question because, again, we've already met Bo-Katan and her little trio, and again, we find out that the Death Watch, the Watch, is a religious sect of the Mandalorian. And that creed is saying, hey, you can't take off the helmets, where, again, we know throughout the Clone Wars and now with Bo-Katan, they're just whipping off their helmets. It doesn't matter. So it's very interesting, kind of cool, and this plays into the episode later on. And so they're getting raided by pirates. Now, I don't know the species that is raiding the pirates, what the pirate species is, but they're kind of cool looking guys, and they got these cool skiffs which remind me of the Rise of Skywalker, and honestly this reminds me of Solo, just kind of like with the train heist. So what's going on is that as they pass the village, they see explosions. It's not good. 2 big fireballs, and we get a little hint of that before it blows up as they see Juggernauts kind of smoking on the side. What they're doing is basically the Raiders are planting thermal detonators and blowing this rhydinium up in the sky. So we get this kind of cool thing. Really cool visuals as the skiff comes in, the raiders kind of drop, the marauders kind of drop, and Mando does his thing. And it's as he fights, he realizes that the Imperial armor is not like Beskar, and yeah, he gets punked out. Some of his armor kind of falls out because of the marauder staffs, and so then kind of handles his own. Boom, boom, boom. Does his thing, blows up things. Hey, everyone's great. And then more come, and more come. And, at one point, then the Marauders are kind of taking off his helmet, and he's in a pickle. But at the last second, he grabs a thermal detonator and blows up the one skiff, and then the other skiff behind it, they get flamed on, and it's not good for the Marauders. But then more Marauders show up, and it's not looking good. And then all of a sudden, the TIE fighters come in, and there's rejoicing. The Imperials come in and save Juggernaut 3 and take out the Marauders and the skiffs. And then they follow on foot. And then we got shore troopers and Imperial stormtroopers, and they're just blowing up the pirates. And it is just a fun little bit. And as the Juggernaut pulls in, we get cheers and salutes from the Imperials. I really dig this. I think it's so awesome. Again, being part of the 501st, I just love that we get a little bit of showing the human side that, hey, these are two equal sides, and the Empire just feels like they're doing their job, and all those people are lost, and they get in. We get some high fives and congratulations, and really cool mix of ground people with shore troopers, Imperials, some shinies, some dirties. Really like this kind of look. And then we get some actually Imperial ground crew, which is kind of cool. Different kind of assemble, all that stuff. Really great. Okay, so they go to the mess hall, which is just like a little cafeteria, and there is an Imperial terminal in the cafeteria. As they pull up, Mayfield spots it, but then, yikes, there is an officer named Valen Hess, and he might recognize him because Mayfield was like a field operative for him. So basically, Mayfield is saying, "Hey, he's gonna recognize my face. I can't do this job. We got to abort." And Din's like, "Give me the Imperial code cylinder. I'm gonna do it." So he goes in there, and man, this is just really cool. Din takes off his helmet, scans his face. He's not in any records. He gets the information for Moff Gideon's Star Cruiser, and we are good to go. And no, we're not. So Hess says, "Hey, trooper, what's your designation, yo?" And he's like, "Well, hey, I'm a transport co-pilot," Din says. He's like, "No, what's your TK number?" So I love this. This is where Mayfield improvises and say, "Hey, it's TK 593. I'm TK 111, Combat Assault Transport Lieutenant." And, we just call him Brown Eyes because his vessel lost pressure over Tanab. Love this little, this kind of little, kind of space language, a little Star Wars language. We get a little cool kind of history there. And they just call him Brown Eyes. And yes, we have TPS reports. So now Office Space and Star Wars are connected. I love it. He's like, "Hey, let's go fill out our TPS reports," but not so fast. Hess wants to have a drink. And we get this kind of cool little shout out to Operation Cinder. So if you're not familiar with Battlefront 2 storyline, this is where the dead emperor comes back and says, "Hey man, we got to kill some planets," and Operation Cinder is part of that. And so really what Mayfield says, he's lived through the burning cone or something like that, which is basically Hess says, yeah, we had to make some unpleasant decisions. Mayfield is really eaten up by that, and probably why he turned to being a pirate and not being an Imperial, which is kind of interesting. Another interesting take as far as just saying, hey, I don't want to be part of the Empire anymore. And really Hess is like, what are we getting? What are you getting to, trooper? Hey, what everybody needs at the end of the day is order. And I just love that kind of perspective from New Republic, whereas like Disarray and the Empire, even though it's an Imperial remnant is saying, hey, we still provide order in the galaxy, which is interesting. So, and really that's why they're mining the rhodinium so that, we can blow more things up. And so he says, long live the Empire. And that's when Mayfield just shoots them. And there's this kind of cool, like, silence. It's like, ooh, what's happening? And so they get out of there. They get out of the dam, or they crack the window open, and they're now there's kind of on the outside of this dam. And that's when Fennec and Cara Dune showed up, and they're just sniping people. Boo, 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 boo. And then Fett comes in to save the day, and they jump, and oh man, it's so cool. Kind of cool action sequence to get out of there. And there's a really cool, like, shore trooper trying to shoot his way out, and it's kind of like, it's a cool little shot, like homage to A New Hope when the little door opens up and the stormtroopers try to shoot out. I don't know. Nerd to me. Love it. Very cool. And then this is a part where both me and Trent like jumped out of our seats, and we had to watch it like 3 times. And so we got two TIE fighters chasing Boba Fett as now Din and Mayfield made it safely onto the ramp. And dude, this is bananas. We get the seismic charge. Well, but before we do that, real quick, Mayfield grabs a cycler rifle and makes a nice shot, and both the girls are like, that was great. And Mayfield just basically shoots the juggernauts. It blows up part of the Imperial facility because the rhodinium is very highly explosive. You get the drill. Boom, boom, boom. And it's super cool. But here's the part that jumped out. Trent and I jumped out of our seats as the 2 TIE fighters are tracing Boba Fett and crew. Boba Fett releases some seismic charges and destroys the 2 TIE fighters. Dude, I just love this scene. I mean, I loved it in Attack of Clones. I loved it seeing now. I was like, oh, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? And yep, same kind of, almost to the T, very, no pun intended, very tight visual of the seismic charge coming out. Get the 2 TIE fighters with no sound, and boom. Love that sound. Super cool. One of Ben Burtt's, like, I don't know. It's just awesome. The absence of sound, and then we get the sound after the seismic charge. Really love that. Super cool. And then we basically rounded up with trying to get the kid back, and so now we know the coordinates, and Dune and then basically say, oh, it's a shame that Mayfield died in the explosion on Morak, and so now they let Mayfield go. If we are following the bouncing ball, this means that Mayfield will play something in season 3. I think that's kind of cool. We let him run off planet. And so now the crew of Fennec, Boba Fett, Dune, and now Din are going to try to get the little green guy back. Grogu, Gogurt, Gropo, Baby Yoda, a child. It's kind of cool. What I really love about this is, so now we get back to Moff Gideon's ship, and the officer's like, yo, you got to see this. And this is what he said. This is what Din says. Moff Gideon, you have something I want. And you may think you have some idea of what you are in possession of, but you do not. Soon he will be back with me, and he means more to me than you will ever know. So he uses almost the same lines verbatim that Gideon does to the crew in season 1 when they're pinned up in the bar and it's not looking good after the client goes down and now they're stuck. And I just love that Din does like a hard flex and is like, hey man, I'm coming for you. So I'm really interested to see really how this can pan out. Like we mentioned with Garrick a couple weeks ago well, it's been a couple weeks, but last episode, we really thought that the season was going to end with Grogu putting on the Seeing Stone on Tython, and we would get our Jedi. I think that last shot is still going to be that Jedi. Again, there's a lot of rumors out there. Could be Cal Kestis from Jedi Fallen Order. It could be Ahsoka. It could be Luke Skywalker. It could be Quinlan Voss. It could be Kyle Katarn. There's all these kind of different rumors going around. I don't know who it's going to be. I hope it's a surprise. I hope it's somebody new. But regardless, we're going to see some casualties next week. So, does Boba Fett make it out of here? Does Fennec make it out? Does Cara Dune make it out? It's very hard to tell how this is going to play out. I'm very interested to see how we are going to get our little baby Grogu back. I don't know. But, it should be one heck of a season finale. I've just loved this season. It's been so much full of surprises, and I hope it doesn't let up with surprises for our last episode. So there you have it. That is The Believer. Now the question is, what does that actually mean? So obviously these last ones, the Jedi, Ahsoka, pretty on point there. The tragedy, twofold. Obviously Grogu is being kidnapped is one, but I really feel the episode, and we talked about this with It's Canon podcast, is that it's really the Razor Crest being blown up by Gideon. The tragedy there. So yeah, kind of crazy. And then we get the Believer, and to me, I think that is really for Din believing in himself and really stepping out and just I'm my own person right now. So he's not really part of the guild. He's not part of this Death Watch thing anymore, and he's kind of making his own kind of way and code and stuff like that. So not change his morals, but just changing possibly who he is and what he stands for. And I just, again, love that he uses Gideon's words in a different way. I don't know. I like it. I think it's cool. So I think it's Din kind of believing in himself, and really Mayfield kind of hits it on point. Just be able to sleep at night and just being part of, making sure you make the right choices. And sometimes we have to make difficult choices, especially in this kind of scenario. So should be interesting. Really looking forward to next week. But yeah, there you have it. That is chapter 15. I can't believe we are 7 in and we got only 1 left. Ooh, it's gonna be crazy. So yeah, we should definitely, I would definitely love to hear your comments. So comment, tweet, rate us on Apple Podcasts. You could email those comments at bigtlittlepodcast@gmail.com. If you drop us a question or give us a rating, we can send you a sticker. And we got new stickers, these cool kind of round stickers. Check them out. We would love to give you some. So drop us an email and let us know what you think of how chapter 8, well, it's chapter 16, episode 8, season 2, how that's going to end. And what do you think the title's going to be? That's pretty cool. So yeah, I'd love to hear, Trent and I would love to hear your ideas. You can find us on the social, Big T, Little T Podcast, Instagram, BLILT Podcast on Twitter. And we're on Twitch, twitch.tv, Big T, Little T. We did a little streaming last week, or this weekend. We had a little problems with the camera. I'm trying to figure out technology. Gotta love it. But anyways, next week, episode 44, The Last Mandalorian. I can't believe it. But now remember, truly wonderful the mind of a child is. And may the Force be with you always. Bye!
stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.